In late February, the Indian Navy welcomed the Iranian warship Iris Dana to Vishakhapatnam, marching alongside its sailors during the Milan naval exercises. For the last decade, the government has projected a highly specific image of maritime dominance, declaring India the primary net security provider and the strict guardian of the Indian Ocean. But on the morning of March 4th, that projection collided with reality. Barely 40 miles off the coast of Sri Lanka, the Iris Dana was attacked on its portage home by an American submarine. The submarine fired an Mk-48 torpedo at the non-hostile vessel. Within seconds, the ship sank, killing 87 Iranian soldiers. When the distress call went out, it was the Sri Lankan Navy that scrambled to rescue the 32 survivors. The Indian Navy, anchored in its own proclaimed backyard, remained entirely stationary. There was no diplomatic protest. The official response from the ruling party's account was a brief statement claiming the incident was not our business. This absence of action 40 miles from the coastline suggests a significant gap in the government's claim to regional control. For the smaller nations watching, the self-declared guardian of the Indian Ocean chose to look away. To understand the silence, we have to look at the events of the preceding week. On February 26th, Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the Knesset in Tel Aviv, explicitly referring to Israel as the fatherland. Barely 48 hours after he departed, the United States and Israel launched a massive coordinated bombing campaign across multiple Iranian cities. According to statements given to Reuters by Israeli defense officials, the military operation had been planned weeks in advance. They delayed the strike entirely to secure what they called an operational opportunity, waiting specifically for the Indian Prime Minister's visit to conclude. Historically, the Indian government maintained strict strategic autonomy regardless of pressure. In 1979, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi publicly condemned the Soviet Union's invasion of Afghanistan, directly opposing India's closest ally. In 2003, Atal Bihari Vajpayee flatly rejected American demands to deploy 20,000 Indian troops, unanimously denouncing the invasion of Iraq. Today, even formal NATO members like Spain are publicly denying the U.S. military access to their bases to protest the current bombings. Yet, faced with the deaths of sailors who marched alongside its own troops weeks prior, New Delhi offered total silence. India has moved away from its decades of strategic independence, operating instead as a silent partner to Western military interests. The cost of this shift is deeply economic. Following direct orders from the American administration, New Delhi recently halted all its established oil imports from Russia. Shortly after, the U.S. Treasury Department issued a public statement formally granting India permission to temporarily resume purchasing Russian oil for a 30-day window to ease global supply gaps. Opposition leaders suggest this sudden submission stems directly from the top of the American government. They point to the massive corruption indictments recently filed in the U.S. against Gautam Adani, a close associate of the Prime Minister, arguing this provides immense leverage for the current U.S. president. This is an administration that has repeatedly described the Indian economy as a direct threat, deported Indian citizens in chains, and actively worked to restrict trade deals that would allow the country to remain competitive. This requirement for third-party authorization on basic energy needs creates a level of dependency that India has historically avoided. Decisions regarding Indian fuel imports are being finalized in Washington, not New Delhi. In retaliation for ongoing bombardments, Iran physically blockaded the Strait of Hormuz, threatening any passing vessel. Over 55 sacrificing geopolitical independence does not insulate a country from these conflicts. It guarantees that when proxy wars inevitably spill across borders, the resulting economic and physical destruction will occur directly on our own shores.